Welcome back to the Market Bias Tracker Weekly Crypto Roundup. This week, the board told a clear story. Pressure stayed broad, bounces tried to appear in a handful of names, but the weight of the market remained firmly on the bearish side. Out of 50 tracked assets, only 4 finished the week with a bullish read. 36 sat in bearish territory. 10 landed neutral. That is not a market where optimism runs freely, and the numbers behind those counts deserve a closer look before we move on. The overall tone this week was one of sustained pressure. Even where short-term bounces tried to form, the broader board did not confirm them. The average score across all 50 tracked names came in at 344 out of 10. That is a low reading. It tells us that the typical crypto asset on this board is not holding structure well. This is not a panic reading, but it is a board that is leaning heavily toward the weak side, and that context matters when you are trying to understand where the market actually stands. Now let us look at who stood out on the bullish side. TRX was the strongest name on the board this week, carrying the highest score of the group. ONDO followed as the second-ranked bullish name, and NEAR rounded out the top 3. All 3 carry bullish bias readings, and all 3 have identifiable support levels beneath them. That said, none of them are without caution. TRX is flagged for ATR stretch on the 1-hour time frame, which means it has moved quickly and may be extended in the short term. ONDO and NEAR both carry trend friction warnings on the 1-hour, suggesting the move upward is not entirely clean. These names are leading, but leading with caveats attached. On the other side of the board, the weakest names this week were BCH, ARB, and Flow. All 3 carry bearish bias readings and scores near the bottom of the tracked universe. BCH is flagged for ATR stretch on the 4-hour time frame, meaning it has moved hard to the downside and may be stretched there as well. ARB carries trend friction on the 1-hour. Flow also shows an ATR stretch warning on the 1-hour. These are not names showing signs of recovery. They are names where the structure continues to deteriorate. For the majors, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana all came in below the midpoint this week. Bitcoin sits at a neutral bias with a stack weakening flag on the 4-hour. Ethereum reads bearish with the same 4-hour stack weakening caution. Solana also reads bearish with that same warning attached. The majors are not in freefall, but they are not providing the kind of leadership that would lift the broader board. When Bitcoin is neutral and both Ethereum and Solana are bearish, the foundation of the market is soft. That brings us to leadership quality. 4 bullish names out of 50 tracked is a narrow read. The bullish side of this board is not broad. It is concentrated in a small group of names, while the majority of the market continues to face downward pressure. Narrow leadership in a bearish environment is worth noting because it means the few names holding up are doing so largely on their own, without broad confirmation from the rest of the market. The main caution this week comes from the ATR stretch tags appearing across multiple time frames. When assets are flagged for stretch, it means price has moved quickly relative to its normal range. That can mean a bounce is possible, but it can also mean a continuation after a brief pause. Do not mistake a stretched move for a reversal without confirmation. Looking ahead to next week, the key watch is whether TRX can hold its lead while the weakest names like BCH begin to confirm further breakdown or show any signs of stabilization. The 4-hour ATR stretch caution remains the most prominent flag on the board. Watch how the majors respond around their current support levels and watch whether the bullish count can expand beyond 4 names. If it cannot, this board stays narrow and the pressure stays real. That is your weekly crypto context from Market Bias Tracker. Find the full board at MarketBiasTracker.com. This is market context, not a signal.